Pretty Girl Club. Welcome back to the Decentering Men series. The purpose of this series is to get you to take men off the pedestal. I find it hilarious how you've got YouTubers saying that I'm extreme for decentering men, yet you're over here centering a man that doesn't even exist, or you're centering a hypothetical man. You're over here waiting around for white validation, waiting around for an 85-year-old billionaire to come and choose you. Yet I'm the one that's extreme. But I want to talk about some of the reasons why you should take men off the pedestal and stop centering your life around them. Number one, most men aren't even cute. Most men are not even attractive. And if they are cute, they're broke. The only reason he has muscles is because he works at a warehouse, ma'am. He's lifting boxes all day. He works at UPS. That's the only reason he has those muscles. He works for Amazon. The only reason he's buff is because he has 6 hours to spend at the gym all day long. Yeah, that's because he doesn't have a job. So that's the only reason that he's even attractive. So when are you going to realize the patterns here? A lot of the men that you think are cute, usually those men tend to be broke, especially if you're one of those girls who really likes men who are like super buff, super muscular. Yeah, he just got out of prison. He was doing push-ups when he was in the cell. That's the only reason that he has big arms. So most men are not even cute, don't even have nice bodies, walking around with beer bellies. You're saying that I'm extreme for wanting to decenter men, but you're centering your life around some crooked-toothed, bald-headed man with a beer belly. You're centering your life around that. Oh, well, I can't decenter men because then they won't want me. Who? Who do you want to want you? Some random white guy with 5 missing teeth? Oh, and statistically speaking, the majority of men are actually not tall. So for those of you who are into taller guys, and when I say tall, all I'm saying is 5'9" and above. I'm not even saying 6 feet. If you like men who are 5'9" and above, well, guess what? Only about 30 to 35% of men are about 5'10" and above. Only about, 25% of men are 5'11" and above? So whatever man you're going to end up meeting, whatever man you are centering your life around right now, there's about a 75% chance that that man can't even clear 6 foot. So you won't even be able to wear your highest heels, or you will, and you'll just be towering over him. So that's why I say to decenter men. Why would I center my life around somebody who's not even going to meet my standards anyway? And then I hear some women saying, oh, well, that's why you shouldn't date cute guys. You should just date a guy who's ugly. Date a guy who's ugly and rich. I don't want to have sex with somebody that I find repulsive. So that's misogyny. You expect him to enjoy sex. You want him to enjoy the woman's body, but then as a woman, you don't get to enjoy his body. You don't get to enjoy sex for the rest of your life because you have sacrificed that so that you could have access to a new designer bag. That's internalized misogyny. Why is it that you expect for men to enjoy sex, but then with women, it's negotiable? Women don't have to enjoy sex. No, that's misogyny. That's not fair. So that's another reason to just go ahead and decenter men, because most likely, whoever you do end up wanting, you're probably not going to enjoy sex with him anyway. You're not going to enjoy sex. He's not even physically attractive. In fact, I would argue that it's actually a form of sexual trauma to be with a man that you find repulsive, all in the hopes that he will take you on vacation next month, all in the hopes that he will buy you a designer bag. And some women are like, oh, well, it's not about him, it's about accessing his money. Okay, so you're still decentering men then. If you want to decenter men, then do it for real. So how about you stop looking for the middleman? Oh, well, I just want to get this man so I can have access to his money. Okay, so you really center money then. Okay, so it's much easier to attain that money by simply starting a business. Why don't you just start a business? Go back to school, get some skills, get a promotion, do a side hustle. All of that is way easier than having to deal with a man with a bad personality. Oh, by the way, that's number 4. Most of the men that you come across, and whatever man you're centering your life around right now, he probably has a bad personality. He has the IQ of a fruit fly, and you're over here centering your life around him. You're over here learning several different languages so you can impress him. You're over here memorizing facts about him, trying to read all these books so you can come off as cultured in front of the almighty white man. You're doing all that So you could impress a random lumberjack looking uneducated redneck who is probably low key racist or fetishizing you. And by the way, if you don't believe me, please go and watch my video about the woman who celebrated being SA'd by non black men. Please go and watch that video. So you're over here centering your life around this idiot, but I'm the one who's extreme. It's extreme for me to not revolve my life around the gender that literally has historically oppressed women. Oh, that's extreme. How dare you not want to center your life around being oppressed by patriarchy? And I see that some people are saying, oh, well, you make pretty privilege content, so that is still engaging in a patriarchy. Okay, so if I'm going to be engaging in a patriarchy either way, how about I pick my own poison then? How about I decide how much of it I want to engage in? There's no rule that says that I have to have sex with an unattractive man. Why would I go all the way to that extreme? Why would I do that when I could just be pretty and have my own business? But let's look at some other stats here for all the male-centered women. Okay, only about 10 to 15% of men have a perfect smile. So women are centering their lives around bucktooth beavers. They're centering their lives around men who can't even close the gap in their teeth. He has missing teeth on the side. He's got several cavities and a root canal due. He's overdue for a root canal. This man has yellow and brown teeth. 85% of the population, folks. 85% of men have imperfect smiles. Something is wrong with their teeth. Okay, so you're telling me you're going to center your life around a man who couldn't even go to the dentist. And by the way, let's talk about the economy. Because the economy is now mimicking what it did back during the Great Depression. So you're telling me in this economy, you expect to find your perfect Prince Charming, perfect smile, perfect height, perfect muscles, and has money. So who's the extreme one? Am I the extreme one, or are you extreme for centering your life around a ghost? You're centering your life around a man who may or may not even exist. And for all of those women who say, oh, well, no, I'm classy. I'm only dating classy men. I don't date baby daddies. Well, sorry to break it to you, but according to the CDC, in the age range of 40 to 44, 76 to 80% of men have children. Okay, so based on the evidence, about 75 to 85% of men over the age of 45 have had at least one child. So all those women who are like, oh, I only date older, more established men. Oh, I don't want to be the first wife. I want to be the second wife. Okay, so you're dating a baby daddy then. All this shit talking about women who are baby mamas, and then you're just going to turn around and date a baby daddy. You're going to turn around and play stepmommy. And you talk about how you're child free, you don't want to raise another woman's kids. Well, that's exactly what you're going to be doing. There's about an 85% chance that that's what you'll be doing. So you're centering your life not just around that man, but also around that man's badass child. You're centering your life around that man's disrespectful child. Also, for all of the black women watching this, if you're a dark-skinned black woman and you don't support colorism, texturism, or featureism, well, Scott's 15-year-old white son, do you think that he really understands the nuances of the isms? Do you think that a little 15-year-old white boy is going to suddenly treat you like a queen? I don't think so. And I've also noticed this pattern where a lot of women, they pedestalize mixed or light-skinned men like Russell Wilson or Klay Thompson. Okay, well, those men have hair. Let's look at the stats on baldness. By age 25, 25% of men are showing signs of balding. By age 30, it's 35%. By age 35, about 40% of men have clear signs of balding. By age 50, around 50% of men have significant hair loss. So whatever man you're centering your life around, you're probably fantasizing about a man with hair. I've never in my life heard a woman say, oh, my dream guy is a bald-headed scallywag with yellow teeth. Oh, I love when men have beer bellies. Oh, I love when they have a bird chest and a double chin and hypertension. Oh, that is so hot to me. I've never heard that in my life. So you're centering your life around a ghost. So that's another reason to decenter men. It's because whatever man you're anticipating, he's probably not going to meet your fantasy anyway. He's not going to be your dream guy anyway. So I find it to be very misogynistic that men will be over here talking about a dream girl, And then for women, realistically, you're not going to get the dream guy. So there's no point in you putting your life on hold or going through all these hoops just so you can be on this man's roster. And that's another thing too. A lot of women, they try to pretend like men are not cheaters. If a man is truly exceptional and attractive and whatever, usually that type of man wants to reward himself with having a lot of sex with a lot of women. So is that something you want to deal with? Do you want to just be one of many? Do you want to be treated as an option? Because I don't. So that's another reason why I'll just go ahead and decenter them altogether. Because you're not going to treat me like, oh, I'm just some option on the side, or, you've got a whole harem of women. I don't want to be a part of the harem. A lot of women, they're participating in a black girl harem. They're a part of Connor's harem of black women that he's had on rotation for 6 months. That's not how I choose to live my life. I don't want to live my life as a concubine to a white man. I don't want to live my life as a concubine to a rich man. I believe in myself. I have my own gifts. I have my own talents. So why can't I go out and just get that money myself? Why do I have to bow down and worship this man as the gatekeeper to my financial success? A man is not a plan. Men are very fickle. They change up what they're attracted to overnight. They change the rules overnight. Men are very hypocritical as well. They lie all the time. So a man could tell you today that he's going to give you all this money, and then tomorrow he might be in a bad mood and he might change his mind. And that's another thing. I don't like having to live my life asking a man for permission to spend money. Oh, hey, Johnny, can I please get $300 to go grocery shopping? Can I please get $500 so I can buy a new outfit? I have to wait and see if I can get an allowance from Johnny. I have to see if he will allow me to spend money. I have to see if he will allow me to go on vacation this weekend. So do you see how that man becomes my God? You're telling me that I did all this work. I'm over here getting all this pretty privilege. I'm doing all this leveling up. I'm traveling all over the world. I'm making myself visible. I'm shopping at Zara and putting on all these classy dresses just so I could attract a man who will eventually cheat on me or emotionally abuse me, or he will go through a midlife crisis, or I am his midlife crisis. He just left another woman. He just abandoned his family so he could be with me. And that's another thing. A lot of women are like, oh, I'll be the second wife. Oh, yeah, team second wife. And it's like, okay, do you really want to be with a man who just abandoned his family? Like, is that not a red flag to you? If he just left his first wife and just ditched his children to be with you, is that not a red flag? Because I don't want anyone in my life who lacks integrity. I don't want anyone in my life who is not a protector and provider. What happened to that talking point? Oh, I like protectors and providers. Okay, well, he clearly failed at doing that with his first family. So what makes you think that he's suddenly going to be Mr. Prince Charming when he's with you? He literally acted like Satan when he was with his family. So what makes you think he's going to turn into Jesus Christ when he's with you? Your vagina is not going to cause him to have a spiritual awakening. Like, oh my gosh, I'm on a spiritual journey. And don't even get me started on the spiritually manipulative men, because that's actually one of their main tactics to get laid. I mean, some of the biggest players are actually the church boys. It's the worship leader at church. It'll be like the pastor at the church. Those are some of the biggest hoes of them all. Some of the biggest manipulators, some of the biggest narcs are the people in the church. So that's another tactic that they're going to use to try to manipulate. So you're telling me that I'm extreme because I don't want to center my life around a manipulator, a bald-headed scallywag, a baby daddy with several kids, somebody broke. So I'm extreme because I want to decenter that. So since I want to decenter being broke, or I want to decenter broken families and dysfunction, that's too extreme. Let's look at another stat here. So depending on your views on corn, about 70% of men have watched corn in the last 30 days. So whoever you're committed to right now, whoever you're centering your life around right now, you're over here fantasizing about you guys getting married and having kids. He's fantasizing about Big Booty Judy. So I'm supposed to center my life around that? I'm supposed to give up my dreams and goals. I'm supposed to sacrifice my happiness so that I could promote the image of being happy, because that's really what it is in a lot of cases. A lot of these long-term relationships and marriages and stuff, a lot of them are not actually as happy as what they try to portray. I think that for a lot of women, They just want the status of having a ring. Okay, if I want the status of having a ring, I can just go purchase myself a diamond ring right now. If it's that serious, I can just buy my own ring and just look like I have a man. If I'm that desperate, if I'm that much of a pick-me, then I might as well commit all the way and just do it without having to actually suffer. A lot of women underestimate the emotional turmoil that a man can bring into your life, because think about it. Majority of men are not in therapy. I think it was what, 75% of the therapy patients are women, right? Because a lot of men don't take care of themselves. A lot of men don't even like scheduling appointments. We just talked a minute ago about how they don't schedule dentist appointments. So if he doesn't even go to the dentist to get his teeth fixed, what makes you think that he's going to go to a therapist? So the majority of men that you're even coming across tend to have some sort of mental illness, undiagnosed. They've got undiagnosed ADHD or whatever, they can't focus. A lot of people talk about, oh, well, I want a man that's a builder. Okay, well, he's not going to be a builder if he's got several different disabilities working against him. Sorry, sis. But it's like, why would I revolve my life around that when everything that I would want from a man, I can give that to myself? I can love myself. Why can't I be the love of my own life? And if you do want a relationship or whatever, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I'm just saying, why would you center your entire life around that? Because I've seen some women, they will literally put their lives on hold for a man. They'll be like, oh, well, I'm not going to move because basically the only reason to move would be because of a man. I'm not going to buy a house because I don't have a man. I'm not going on vacation because I don't have a man. I'm not going to the movies because I don't have a man. So they have this fear of being alone. They can't be alone. They can't do activities alone. They can't explore the world alone. So a lot of the women who are male-centered, it's because they're getting their sense of excitement and adventure from having a man. That's the only way she gets excited about her life, is when there's a man around. The only time she leaves her apartment is if a man invites her out. That man has to summon her out of her apartment. He has to summon her via a dating app, and then that's the only time that she goes outside. And I think a lot of women, they don't think about what they really want in a relationship. Like, what are you seeking from that man? What are you looking for that man to give you that you can't give yourself? Companionship? A lot of men don't make good companions. They say that a dog is a man's best friend, not man is a man's best friend. So you're literally better off having a dog as a companion or a cat as a companion versus a man. Because think about it. What conversation topics are you really going to talk about with that man? Let's pretend that you get your white man of your dreams. He's a white boomer. I mean, I don't know what I would be talking about with a white boomer, but let's pretend that you get your white boomer boyfriend. What kind of companionship, what quality of companionship would you really have? Oh, well, he can take me shopping. Well, why does he have to take me shopping? Why can't he just cash at me the money? Then I don't have to deal with having a conversation with him. If it's just about money, then make it just about the money. Just get the cash app then. Just get the money online then. Get it sent to you immediately. So then that way you don't have to drive anywhere, get all dressed up, walk around in your uncomfortable high heels, wear an uncomfortable girdle, trying to suck in your stomach, trying to suck in your fat, eyelashes falling off, stabbing yourself in the eye with your long acrylic nails. You don't have to go through any of that drama because you could just have the guy cash app you the money. If it's that serious and you're really just doing this for money, then just get the money. But a lot of women, they want a sense of companionship. And I think part of that is because those women have no friends. They will spend all of their time trying to find a man. They will forgive a man 1,000 times, but then they will cut off another woman for one small mishap. They will end their female friendships very quickly, but with a man, they'll give him 1,000 chances. So just admit that you're lonely and codependent, because that's really what that is. You're codependent. So that's why you can't decenter men. And then another talking point that I hear is, oh, well, you're only decentering men because they decentered you. Okay, well then good. That's actually a good thing because that's called boundaries. I don't want to center my life around a man who doesn't give a fuck about me. So all you're doing is admitting that you would continue to center a man even if he doesn't care about you. So you're literally just admitting that you are a low-value groupie then. You're admitting that even if a man doesn't center you, you're still going to revolve your life around him. Sounds like you're the one with the problem, not me. Because I don't want anybody who doesn't want me. I don't want to dedicate my life to somebody who views me as just an option. I don't want to give my heart to somebody who doesn't value it. So for the women who are saying that, like, oh, well, I don't care if they center me or not, I'm still going to center them. Ma'am, you just made yourself look desperate. And also, my talking points still stand, whether you want to center men or not. Men are still going to look at porn, whether you center them or not. They're still going to hit on several women, whether you center them or not. They're really still going to chase after you, whether you center them or not. If you have pretty privilege, the men are still going to chase after you regardless. You get so much male attention to the point that you actually don't want it. So the women who say that they can't decenter men, it's because they're codependent. Maybe they never really had access to the male gaze, and so their only strategy of getting the male gaze is by being as male-centered as possible. It's by being as much of a pick-me as possible, because they actually believe that talking point where it's like, oh, pick-me's get picked. They get picked by who? By Dusties? Is that really the lifestyle that I want to live for myself? And if you don't believe any of the stats I just showed you, why don't you just look at anecdotal evidence? Why is it that you've got married women saying to decenter men? Married women. They have entire decentering men channels. They're warning single women to decenter men. So why is it that even the married women are saying to decenter them, but you suddenly want to be like, oh, well, I don't want to decenter men because that's extreme. Well, the married women don't think it's extreme. Oh, and by the way, the childbirth rates are declining and so are the marriage rates. Let's take a look at some divorce stats. So for the first marriage, around 50% ends in divorce. For the second marriage, all the women screaming, oh, I'm going to be the second wife. Oh, second wives club. Okay, 67% chance of divorce. Third marriage, about a 70% chance of divorce. And it's so funny because a lot of women will be like, oh, well, that's good if I get a divorce because then I get half of his money. Okay, so then you'd never wanted the marriage then. You didn't want marriage. So again, why do I have to go through suffering in order to attain money? So do you see this messed up money mindset that a lot of women have? All of this is based on money. Oh, well, if I want to get money, I have to get a boyfriend. If I want to get money, I have to have a sugar daddy. I have to get married and then I have to get divorced so I can get half of his wealth. Are you that broke? Are you that bad at attaining money? Are you that bad with finances to the point where you have to marry this crazy-ass, ugly-ass, bald-headed scallywag, walking around limping with a cane? He's got hypertension. He's got diabetes. You have to act as his free caregiver and nurse. You have to pretend that you actually like him when you don't. You have to pretend to enjoy sex when you don't. You have to fake orgasms for decades. Also, you could have, what, $100,000? You could have made that amount of money in 1 year working in tech. So do you see how a lot of these male-centered women, they have this mindset of the only way I can attain wealth is with a man. The only way I can attain financial stability is with a man. That's really what it is. It's the fact that these women, they have like this savior complex. They're looking for a man to save them from their own financial struggles. They're looking for a man to save them from their financial woes. So these are financially irresponsible women. They've got no savings account, no investment accounts, fucked up credit, fraud in their name. They're cheating on their taxes and shit, putting stuff in their children's name so that they can pay the light bills and shit. They're not paying their phone bills. And they have this fantasy of this magical, ethereal man who lives in the same capitalistic system as them, same economy. But for some reason, they put men on such a high pedestal. They think men are so much smarter than them, so much more talented, to the point where they just assume, oh, he's going to automatically have more money than me. I'm not stupid. I don't look at a man and say, oh, well, he must have more money than me. He's probably richer than me. He's probably smarter than me. He's probably better with finances than me. I don't look down on myself on that level. So no, I don't just look at somebody who's white and say, oh, he probably has money. And another thing, too, about marrying a man, they talk a lot about women hitting the wall. Men hit the wall all the time. They say that women are in their prime in their early 20s or whatever. A lot of men don't even have a prime. So you expect me to dedicate my life to you? Your ugly ass? Really? You're the face I have to wake up to every morning? I have to sit on top of that beer belly every night? I have to try to pretend that I didn't just hear you burping and farting in the bed. You got a big old belly hanging over. You're about to roll over me on the bed and smush me into the pillow. You're going to lay on top of me and crush my bones. I'm over here with a broken collarbone because you're so fat. When you laid on top of me, my bones just got crushed under the weight. Have you ever rode in the car next to someone who's big, and then it's like when they sit in the car on their side, the entire side of the car is like weighed down? So you're telling me that I have to sit in the car with your fat, bald-headed self, and you're over here popping the tire when you're driving because that's how fat you are? So I'm supposed to be, quote unquote, happily married, when in reality, that's what most men actually look like. That's what most men's 50s actually look like. It looks like him being overweight, him having his first round of health problems because he neglected his body. He neglects himself. A lot of men neglect themselves, and so they're looking for a woman to nurture them back to life. So you're saying that you have to suck out my life force, and I have to nurture you back to life. You're over here driving around popping tires because you're so fat. You're eating up the entire pantry's worth of groceries because you're so fat. A lot of men eat about double the amount of what women eat. Okay, so now the grocery bill has tripled because, we've got Tom living in the house now. Me and Tom just moved in together, so, he eats 5 bowls of cereal every morning. And now because I'm the woman, of course I gotta play my little gender role. That's another thing. A lot of men will try to enforce gender roles on you, and then if they don't enforce the gender role, then they will enforce 50-50 or hypogamy. So it's like, okay, so he's eating up all the groceries. So now I basically live in the grocery store. I live in Safeway. I live in Kroger. I live in Publix now. That's how I spend my days. It's just me basically being the errand girl. It's me basically being a slave for Tom. It's me being a slave for Tom's sugar craving. It's me constantly going to the convenience store to get him another cigar, get him some more cigarettes. And then I have to sit there in the doctor's office with him once he gets diagnosed with lung cancer. Is that the soft life? Hashtag soft life, hashtag pretty privilege. That doesn't sound like something fun to center my life around. Because I want you to think about this. What will your life look like if you were to center it around a man? Think about whoever your current boyfriend is, whoever you're dating right now. Imagine yourself married to that man 50 years from now. So, like for me, I'm in my mid-30s. So in my mid-80s, what would it look like if I had married my ex? Well, first of all, he may not even be alive because a lot of men's lifespans are shorter than women's. So all this talk about, oh, you're going to die alone. Well, you're going to die alone anyway because men's lifespans are shorter than women's. So now what? So you marrying him, that didn't solve you not dying alone. And then with the whole companionship thing, a lot of men are not good companions. They're not good conversationalists. They sit around at home and play video games for 6 hours. That's the reality of a lot of marriages. The husband and wife get home from work, and then the man goes in the den and just watches football all night. Or he goes out with his friends, he goes to the sports bar. Or he plays video games the rest of the night and then watches porn while the woman is washing dishes. And then, the woman comes and cleans his dirty underwear and puts them in the laundry. And then that's it. Like, some women don't want to spend the rest of their lives being a domestic house slave. And by the way, if you're wondering about what the average married woman's lifestyle truly is, just look at the women who have been married for 50 years. Look at their bodies. Look at their face. How many wrinkles do they have? Look at their hair. Is their hair well taken care of in their 80s? And then I want you to compare those women to the ones who are child-free and the ones who are like, they're single or whatever. And that's why they have that article that was talking about how single, child-free women were the happiest. Also, being single doesn't mean that you can't be wined and dined. That's another thing. Some people put marriage on a pedestal because they think that marriage is more romantic. They think that they get treated the best within a marriage. And in reality, it's actually the opposite. So you can get wined and dined. Single women are still going on dates. I don't know why they make it like being single means you never get flowers, nobody's ever trying to take you out, you never get new experiences, you never get to go on vacation. There are women who are doing that all the time. So if that's really what a woman is looking for, she doesn't have to go through the trauma and turmoil of dealing with some unattractive, bald-headed scallywag for 50 years just so she can have access to a certain lifestyle. Most marriages don't even have that lifestyle. And by the way, a lot of marriages, like a lot of those women, they get married before they know who they are, or they chose the wrong partner, or maybe the man changes. That's another thing, too. Just because a man marries you doesn't mean he's going to stay with you. That doesn't mean that he's always going to love you the same as he did when he first got with you. If you even believe that men are capable of love to begin with. Because that's another thing. Ask your boyfriend right now. Pause this video and ask your boyfriend, hey, how do you know you love me? What's your definition of love? And then see what he says. He's probably going to name a woman doing acts of service for him. He's going to name a woman somehow like being a maid or cooking and cleaning for him. So is that how you want to prove your love to a man for the rest of your life, is by doing chores? And I'm not against like women getting married or having relationships. I just don't center my entire life around it. So how do you know that you're male-centered? Number one, the majority of your waking hours are spent thinking about or pursuing men. So you already spend 40 hours a week at work. So after you get off work, what do you spend the rest of the evening doing? Are you spending 5 and 6 hours a day watching dating strategy content? 30 hours a week? So you work 40 hours a week, then you watch dating strategy content for 30 hours a week, so it's a part-time job? And then you're actually going on dates for what, 10 hours a week? So that's a good way to measure how male-centered you are. What percentage of your free time is spent thinking about men, stressing about an ex, analyzing what a man did to you, analyzing what he said to you? If 50% or more of your free time is spent focusing on men, that's male-centered. Your wardrobe, how you dress, your beauty routine. How much of your beauty routine is focused on the male gaze? Like when you do your makeup, are you specifically doing it because Johnny said he likes long eyelashes? So now you got long eyelashes? Like, why are you doing the things you're doing? That's another way to tell how male-centered you are. Staying in a relationship that's mediocre. Settling for mediocrity. Settling for average. Settling for somebody below average because you don't want to be alone. Placing relationships on a hierarchy. You got marriage at the top, and then fiance is right beneath that, and then below that you got boyfriend, girlfriend. And then below that you got friends with benefits. Then at the bottom, you got single, baby mama, side chick, etc. So putting relationships on this hierarchy or viewing relationships as this escalator to marriage. If every time you see a man you think to yourself, oh, is that my husband? Male-centered. Because men are also, they also don't owe you anything. That's another thing too that male-centered women won't admit. When are you going to admit that this man still doesn't owe you a relationship? He doesn't owe you his dick. He doesn't owe you a romantic relationship. So the fact that they're just looking at men as if they're just walking husbands, they're just these walking Prince Charmings, that's unrealistic, and it's also objectification of men. You're objectifying him. All this shit talking about, I don't want to be objectified, I don't want to be fetishized. Well, aren't you kind of doing the same thing to him? You're objectifying him. He's the object of your fantasy. He's the object of your emotional fantasy. He may not be the object of your sexual fantasy, because apparently a lot of women are dating hideous Shrek-looking beluga men, but I feel like some women also don't realize the advantages of being single. Number one, you don't have to cook and clean for anybody. You don't have to keep up. If you really wanted to look ugly, you really could. That's another thing too. Pretty privilege, you don't have to have pretty privilege. That's not a requirement. If you want to be ugly, then be ugly. But I feel like when you're single, you don't have to worry about impressing a man. You don't have to worry about pleasing a man in the bedroom, trying to manage his emotions, acting as his administrative assistant, scheduling his dentist appointments, scheduling his doctor's appointments, feeding his dog, taking care of his animals that he has neglected, trying to play the perfect stepmommy to children who are not even yours, children who will never appreciate your contribution to their lives. Because at the end of the day, those children, they're always going to prioritize their mother over their stepmother for the most part. So that's another thing that the second wives don't talk about, is the struggle of being a stepmother. Also, there are struggles that come with dating men with kids as well. Why is nobody talking about that? Every other weekend, he's unavailable. because he's got to take care of his kids. He's got to go to the soccer games. His kids are coming over to his house. So, you thought you were going to go over there and you guys were going to have sex and all that. Nope. Because now he's got his 2 children in the room next door. So when you're single, there are a lot of inconveniences that you don't have to deal with. Because you're in charge of your life. You can just pick up and go. You can go on vacation by yourself. You can solo travel. You can go outside, even if you want to go out and flirt. When you're single, if you really want to flirt that bad, then you just flirt and just go home. And then, the night's over. So you had your little fun, and then you don't have to worry about catching any diseases. You just went out, you danced a little bit, you got some free drinks, and then you went back home. And something else that women never talk about is how expensive it is to maintain your beauty. So, let's say you are dating somebody, or let's say you want to impress some man and you're male-centered. Okay, you're spending a lot of money on having your hair done, your nails done, getting your waxes, getting laser hair removal, the plastic surgeries that you're getting, a BBL, boob job, tummy tuck, all that stuff you're getting, lipo, laser lipo, buying a new wig. All of those expenses will go down when you're single. When you're single and you're not worried about impressing a certain type of man, then you don't even have to worry about keeping up with this man's beauty standard, whatever that is. You don't really have to worry about that as much when you're just on your own. And don't even get me started on the women who invest all this time and energy into being beautiful for a man just for that man to still cheat and still treat her as average and still treat her as an option. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.